Well, hello and welcome to my channel. Definitely want to thank you for tuning in. And I want to put the disclaimer out there that this is not financial advice. This is just a look into the way that I do things from my perspective and the experience that I've gathered so far in speculating the markets. Now, last week I put out my first video was the weekly outlook of the last week of 2022. And so this follow-up video is going to be a review of that as well as a look into 2023. So coming back here, we see this was the ending of that video, and this is where the market was. These were levels that I had identified as key levels on my chart. So now I'm back to real time. We've had a week of trading since that. This was the beginning of this past week's trading, the last week of 2022. And as you see, there was a gap open, which gave it the momentum to get above that first key level I had marked. It failed to reach that daily high, which is this pink line up here, which was marked up in that last video as well. Broke down back below opening price. And this was in the New York session, right? Look at the timing. This is all New York time. And so there was a London close, right? Retracement, if you will, which then led to consolidation heading into Wednesday's New York session, which I thought at first that there may have been some news, but there was no news, just the normal, right, volatility. We saw another push with momentum, right? But this time, continuation lower, traded to those next two levels I have marked up. I did add a third level, and I'll go to the daily chart to show that, which is just this larger volume imbalance. So I spoke about volume imbalances in that last video. This was the larger one. So I only marked this one up in the video, but afterwards I did add this one, and that's why you see that overlap there, right? And so coming back to the hourly chart, just again to do the review, right? So after we had that drop down into these levels, it did short term act as support. We saw a nice bounce back above that weekly level of support. But then end of day volume, we saw the market, right, end up trading lower, which made me think that it would reach for this low. And that's why, because this low also was not marked up on that video. So that's then what prompted me to mark up this low. And oh, I think there's two lines down here too. Yeah, I don't need the second one. I added that one. It's the same line. All right. So now we see we start to consolidate again and going into London session on Thursday, working our way up slowly. We get back inside of that original level I have marked up, right? And then we pick up some momentum. We leave that in the New York session. Running higher, trade back up above the opening price, back into, right, this old level, showing signs of exhaustion from my perspective. Then we start to break down slowly. Another little consolidation in Asia. And then heading into London, we do see, right, a drop. And then going into New York, a little bit of continuation. Back into, right, this level, or these two levels, and also that weekly support. We actually traded right down to this low, which I said I marked up this day, thinking that it might get traded lower than. We actually traded right to that low. So if you direct your attention up to the top left up here and look at those numbers. So the low on this candle came in at 32989. And this candle also 32989. Obviously, we see that this blue line here, this blue dotted line is denoting that price level. So we got some equal lows resting here. And off of that, we did see a nice bounce to end the day. Basically, a lot of short covering. And so heading into the new year, want to back up now, back to the monthly, right? And so we still see the all-time highs denoted up there, but what I also want to add is this previous month's high, right? So this was, well, that was December, right? So I want to add that in there. All right, got the capital locks on. Okay. So I'll add that in there. We got December's high. And then also I'm keeping my eye on November's low. So just so I had those levels already denoted on the chart. No surprises, right? It's got all-time high, we got December high, we got November low, and then just for good measure, might as well just go ahead and tack in that December low as well, right? Because before we get to that November low, we technically have to go and take out this December low. So we'll just mark that up as well. So we got the December low. And now go down to the weekly. And these were those levels I was talking about just as far as price traded above, right? A nice sharp rejection back into the range. Same thing here, traded below, sharp rejection back into the range. Then once again, trade above both of these highs, right back into the range. And as far as his weekly support, didn't really want to see the bodies, right? Started to challenge inside of this, the body of this candle. So still from a weekly perspective, only thing I really can say is that we've created a swing low. It's official with the close of this candle as an inside week. So if we do show a willingness to get above this, so 2 weeks ago, that high, then I would be looking for this old high broken to show me some sort of sensitivity in the sense of momentum through, possibly like with retest on a smaller time frame, or just maybe a trading above it and then showing a quick rejection right on a smaller time frame with some entry signals to take it back down possibly, because like I said, I didn't really like how it traded into this support level in a sense, so it really just for me leaves the door open for it to trade lower. And then first stop would be right this week's low, and then this week's low, and then filling in some of this imbalance here. So definitely going to be monitoring that high there at 33663, right? And as well as this low first, right? Because we traded below that low, and now is when we got that rejection higher, right? Ends up closing above that weekly support level, and then we get an inside day or inside week in which we failed to break the high or the low of the previous week, but we're still sitting on that support level. So chances are, like I said, we will see at least some sort of attempt to trade higher. Now, how long or how sustained that move will be, time will tell. But that's just kind of the way that I'm looking at things right now. And if we take this down to the daily chart, well, hold on, let me make sure that these levels are going to remain because I don't want to lose them. All right, but okay, we go down to a daily chart. And again, we're seeing those volume imbalances. We did create one here, right? So just in the spirit of keeping everything, right, just on the same page. So I will denote that, kind of extend that out, just so that again we have that level, seeing how it's underneath this level. Before price right gets to that level, obviously we'll have to, do something here. So we'll see how that goes, right? And I could mark up like, well, not really, right? So on the daily chart, what I'm seeing here is, so I already have the swings in a sense, right? Marked up. Swing high on a daily, so swing low on a daily, but also a swing low on a weekly, I believe. So now we're pretty much in the same boat as last week where like there's not much high probability right now. So what I'm really just looking for is as we're in this range on a daily time frame, some sort of right commitment, something like this, right? So where this day we had it trade higher, but it was very decisive in a sense with that rejection. And then we saw this candle trade lower than that day. And then we had a large range day, a nice large range day, big body candle, right? And then we trade lower, 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 and we start to get into this consolidation, which we're seeing now. So going to the 4 hour, and you see, I like to mark out the days. Just I definitely try to take into account day of the week as much as possible. Very helpful to me personally. And so looking at it from a 4 hour perspective, with that right additional level, it's definitely nice to see again just price reacting these levels, right? Color outside the line sometimes, of course, but this is one of the most volatile assets in the markets. And then just considering, excuse me, the end of year, uh, just the end of year trading, right? The closing of positions, squaring of positions, covering positions, stuff like that. Just wasn't really expecting much of any sort of new trend being created. So just want to use the levels that I found to be key and look for setups off of that. And so coming into the new year, later on today, we will officially begin the new year. It will technically be the 3rd of January, and it will count as Tuesday's trading. And I'm very much so looking forward to that. That's not really much more on the four, except for the fact that we got these two, right, equal highs up here, but then on the same token, we got these equal lows down here. So I'm really just again looking forward to how the market opens and seeing which levels does it gravitate to. And then once it gets there, and that's the key for me personally, is like once it gets there, then I'll start to deploy my strategy, right? Some of the tools that I like to use to see if I can find a high probability setup. And so with that being said, oh, I think I also had this level up there several times too. So let me take one of them off. Wow, that's more than one. Okay, I'll take a couple off. All right, there we go. So now, like I was saying, want to see with how we open next week. So this was right this past week's open. So I'll get rid of that. And so now I'll have a new yellow line at this time right here, right? The 1800 when the market opens up, prints a new candle, could potentially gap up, could potentially gap down, right? That's the thing. I don't want to play the guessing game. So I'm just going to allow the market to open up and show me some information that I can then start to use. But a big goal for me is to make sure that I'm in sync with the market more often than not in 2023, which will, in my mind, require me to do more recording in a sense of my outlooks and my reviews just to make sure that I'm holding myself accountable to my goals that I have set because there's so much opportunity in my opinion in this market and I've been watching it for I want to say like a good year on and off, right? And so I still don't have everything figured out. Of course, a lot of learning to do, and I just want to be able to document my journey, but also share, the way that I do things with those who are willing to listen. So with that being said, I'm going to call it there. Happy New Year to everyone. Hope that 2023 brings you, more life, more love, and more happiness. So thank you. Talk to you later.